NFL record for the worst completion percentage. This is a game you need to win. This is a divisional matchup against a team you should beat. This is how you stack up wins.
Hello and welcome back to episode 80 of i75Live. Today we have our draft special. Draft is over. A lot of stuff has happened. The draft obviously has happened. Both of our teams. I think there were a lot of wins. There were a lot of losers in this draft. We'll go through that of some of our favorite players who got drafted. Maybe didn't go to our favorite teams. We'll also go over our teams, of course. But it was definitely a very interesting. Not as many. I don't think the draft class as a whole is just this like, hey, in 5 years, remember the 2026 draft class of how loaded it was. I don't think it's going to be that.
Well, this draft class specifically, so, I mean, you saw it during the draft as well, if not a little bit before too. There were a lot of trade backs. And I think that just shows that there were a few guys, available that every team would, could find spots for on their roster. But if there weren't, it's just, you'd much rather take more flyers on guys later in the round and just hope they pan out. Yeah. I think there was a point in either the second or third round where the last 12 picks were all traded back. And it's just, I don't think we've ever seen that before. I think all eyes are on the 2027 and the 28 draft classes as supposed to be like the next generational group of prospects. But these ones, still a decent draft, I think. There were a ton of guys that went to perfect situations. And then, like you said, there's always a few teams every year that just decide to draft based on, I guess, strictly best player available. And you're looking at them and you're like, this team took 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, and 2 quarterbacks, the Browns last year. And it's like, I know, what's the plan?
Or as in like the Cardinals taking a running back when they
no O-line, no quarterback.
O-line, no quarterback. Yeah. They kind of already, signed Tyler Algier.
Yeah.
They have, So yes, it is very interesting. It always happens. But yes, I don't think this draft class was something special, anything that we're going to remember in 5-10 years now. But there will be a couple guys that do shine, though.
Yep.
To get into it, though, I think for our draft recap, we're going to go over our teams first.
Oh, so overall, I think I paid attention a good bit to the Patriots just because, we definitely talk a lot of football. And you probably have a better idea than me, but I liked it. I thought that there was a set plan here.
So my favorite pick, honestly, was the tight end from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That was my favorite. I wasn't, and I watched, because, Notre Dame, they're on TV a ton.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember when we picked him, I was like, oh, that's who that is.
Yeah.
Very good, very physical. I know he's kind of had some injury issues. He's had, I think, 2 ACL injuries.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he, again, did go in the third round instead of the first or second, to his measurables.
He's a pretty complete tight end, if he can stay healthy.
I agree. I think his blocking is very good. His catching down the field is he's not the fastest guy, but, I don't think you need to be the fastest to play tight end in the NFL. Yep. He reminds me of a younger Hunter Henry.
Okay.
That's what I'm seeing. Who can block a little bit better, because Hunter Henry is decent at blocking. Yep. He was really known for his catching ability, though, especially at the Chargers, and why we signed him all those years ago. But yes, that was my favorite pick. I also think our first round pick, I think it's funny. Everyone's kind of clowning him for his video that he did. It gives me...
Patriots have a type when they draft
O-linemen,
apparently.
And it gives me a little bit of PTSD with kind of Will Campbell last year and how that kind of, made a big old scene and everyone was happy about it. And then it kind of panned out to where he really didn't perform the way he should have last year. And everyone saw that. Yeah. So to me, it's like, okay, if you're going to do this crap now, you better come in and perform. Now, I do also like that he's basically said, I don't care what position it is.
Yes.
I just want to play.
Yeah.
I hope Will Campbell can maybe take a little bit of lesson on that, because at this point, you should just want to play the position that you can benefit the team the most.
Yeah, well, talking about that, then it's... Because, I'm sure there's been discussions at least had in the building about Will Campbell. And to be fair, he was playing off an MCL injury.
He was.
And I think he had surgery and then came back like in a month. And so he definitely was not his strongest self in the playoffs. So I mean, props to him for even surviving all of those defenses that you guys had to play back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I feel like this pick, the tackle pick, feels a lot better in that you took him at the end of the first round. And like you said, you don't really know where he can play. It's either tackle or guard, but it's nice to have both. And you didn't spend a top 4 pick on him. So feels a little bit more, I guess you could say, comfortable here instead of, there's not just otherworldly expectations to pan out specifically at tackle now.
There's not, but to counteract on that though, I think you still are a first round pick.
Oh yeah,
that was your obvious glaring need in the playoff run that you had last year, especially the Super Bowl. Everyone saw it.
Yeah.
So the pressure that you had to fix that position and get some weapons for Drake May. I still think we're going to get AJ Brown. So you kind of put on who's the Green Bay receiver we got? I'm blanking on his name. Romeo Doubs.
Yeah,
we got Romeo Doubs now. We still have Hunter Henry. He's getting older. We draft the Notre Dame tight end.
Yeah, you still got Kyle Williams.
Hopefully we get AJ Brown, and I think we still have Henderson. We still have Stevenson, and then I also kind of like the Jam Miller running back out of Alabama.
Yeah,
for a nice third option. He'll probably majority play special teams.
He will,
but you never know. Injuries happen all the time, especially at running back position. We could very well be looking at this guy being the backup running back, halfway through the year if someone gets hurt.
Hey, if Stevenson wants to keep fumbling the ball next year too.
That too.
I know Dawson's patience is running thin there.
Especially if he starts out like that. But no, look, I think,
overall grade, what would you give the team?
I would say we got some of our needs. I think O-line was a big one. We addressed that a couple times. The tight end position was, I think, a huge need for me. I was a proponent of wanting to trade for Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, which still
could happen.
No one knows.
So I really, that was a position we needed. So I'm happy we got that. I wasn't expecting it to be him. Yeah. But after kind of watching a little bit of what he did at Notre Dame, I'm happy with it.
Yep.
I would probably give it a solid B- flat out.
I didn't hate what they did, and it made a lot of sense. It doesn't seem like they tried to do too much. It seems like they were aware of their weaknesses and they just attacked them, which is what good teams do, while also having obviously best player available in mind. But when you're in the Patriots situation and you're picking at the end of every single round, I mean, you have to choose one or the other. You can't really double dip or get a player that's both most of the time.
You can't double dip. I thought Vrabel is the king of double dipping right now.
I know.
Funny
you mentioned that.
It's a funny joke. So no. To go on top of that though, I think what I do think though is I do think we're going to have to give up some draft capital to get AJ Brown, and that's probably why we did not see us trading in or trading back.
Saw this. I'm sure you saw this report. I saw a report that came out that said, obviously, the Patriots are still the favorite to trade for AJ Brown, and it's going to happen after June 1st when his salary, I think, becomes some sort of guaranteed, and you can push it off the books a lot easier. That a 2028 first round pick is what the Patriots were going to send, and I'm like, did we just skip 2027? I didn't really get that. I still think he goes for a first, just strictly off of the past production he's had. He's been in kind of, I guess, inopportunistic at times situations in Philadelphia with the play calling. But if Jalen Waddle goes for a first, I feel like AJ Brown has to. But a 2028 first round pick, how does that make sense for you if you're the Eagles? The Patriots aren't going to get worse, I don't think. And the very best chance for the Eagles to get the most value out of a pick from the Patriots is next year, because you guys are playing a first place schedule. You got a tough schedule next year.
Well, and this is kind of what I was telling you, to where the Eagles ran their course of kind of controlling this the way they want to control it. To where if he would have gone for a first round this year, it would have been done. Yeah. If we wanted, and that was the price, it would have been done.
Yeah.
So, and it also just goes, the Eagles taking a receiver with their first round pick solidifies that they are getting rid of AJ Brown. And Howie Roseman finally kind of got a little taste of his own medicine when it comes to him being able to really manipulate all these and be like, how the hell did you just get that guy for that? So what's up?
Did you hear where the rumors first started, though, about AJ Brown not being happy in Philadelphia?
Okay, look, we're not going to talk about this.
That man, Mike Vrabel, is
I don't agree with it. I think it's wrong. I think all this. I also think that this is getting way too much media coverage compared to some of the other things that have happened this offseason.
Absolutely.
Like Pierce Jr. from the Falcons, who
is going to basically walk
away
Charges
free
dismissed.
and only have a 6 or 7, 8 game suspension. We're not talking about that enough. Look, I don't agree with it. Do I think, it's his personal life? I understand, but at the same time, I've said this to Dylan 1,000 times, everyone is fucking bored. Everyone has nothing to talk about.
Well, that's because there's nothing to talk about right now.
It dropped at the perfect time.
It dropped at the perfect. If this would have happened in the middle of the season,
that would have been bad.
That would have been bad.
Oh God,
huge distraction. That would have been really bad.
No, but people are getting this out of their systems now.
That's
so that
right.
when OTAs start, and
and this whole thing of
going to be fine.
the Patriots are eyeing Mike Tomlin to.
Stop!
Like, please, dear God, you guys are so bored.
Can we get a live reaction of what would happen if that were the case? Like, let's say you wake up tomorrow morning, Mike Vrabel has resigned, and Mike Tomlin has stepped in.
I'd probably just shut off my phone for the day.
I think Dawson would become a Dolphin fan at that
go
point.
about my day.
There's no way.
The first person I'd hear from would be Flynn,
he'd be laying in bed. He'd have a picture of Mike Vrabel just
what could have been last year. No, that's what I think. Look, it is. I mean, it is what it is. Do I agree with it? No. Do I think it's wrong? 100%.
just a bombshell out of nowhere.
But at the same time, it's like even like the stupid TMZ reporter chasing him through the airport.
God,
like, go get a fucking life.
Unfortunately, that is his life.
I understand, but it's like you guys are all so bored that this is the headline all over. And I said it to Dylan, as soon as the season starts, no one's going to give a fuck.
Nope. It might get talked about for the first week because the announcers have nothing to talk about, and then it won't get mentioned.
So that's my opinion on that. I'm
sorry I brought it up.
No,
I just wanted to have a little fun.
It is funny.
I wonder if Mikey Jr. though is going to end up being in the NFL. That's all I want to know.
So you want to know even more about that story, Chris? Is they were in the same spot 9 months before the birth of her second child.
No. Well, the only thing, her husband looks like Mike Vrabel, though. They actually look similar.
I have a question. What is the name of her second child, and what is Mike Vrabel's middle name?
Tom Brady. No. Is it Tom?
No,
it's not.
No, I have no
What if
idea.
it's Bill? What if it's Bill?
Bill Belichick?
That's what I don't agree with.
Okay.
I don't agree with
Let's get back to the draft.
I think it's all messed up, but at the same time, there are
Thank God it's in the offseason.
Things that are going on, I think, in the NFL with some of the players and some of the stuff that should be talked about, but instead we're sitting here talking about Mike Vrabel.
Well, they hate us because they...
That too. It is also a Patriot thing, and I don't care what anyone says. That's why Jack always brings it up, because he hates the Patriots, and
here for the memes.
He will openly say that to you, and I have no problem with that. But that is 100% what you just said. Why people are also talking about this is because it's the Patriots.
I am in favor of the memes, and I
am too. I think they're hilarious. Our freaking background picture.
Show them the background of our
background picture in our group chat is literally Mike Vrabel holding.
Show it up so we can see it.
Holding Diana Rossi's hands.
So scroll down as if you're going to the no other way.
Getting closer to the camera so we can see it. There you go.
Look at that.
There you
That's
go.
literally the background to our group chat of them holding hands at the resort they were at in Arizona. So I think it's hilarious. Do I think it's right? No. Do I think it's fucked up? Yes. But everyone is bored.
Oh, man.
And everyone doesn't know what to talk about. And it's the Patriots.
Well, and can we just finish with this? They said that the coach had to go before his team the other day, and they were speculating on what he might have said. And they were like, do you think he went in there and was like, oh, I'm so sorry? They're like, no. He didn't go in there and say that. He was like, guys, I screwed up. Let's move on.
I said it in the group chat. I like all the reports coming out about, Mike Tomlin hasn't been himself since this report came out. Complete bullshit. There's no way that Mike Tomlin, just everything we know about him and like seen him in press conferences, there's no way that he didn't walk straight into the building, and let them know, upper ownership, that this was going to come out anyways. I'm sure he got a, somewhat of an attack plan on that. But yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that he addressed the locker room. He was like, guys, I mean, I was a hypocrite. Like, I have no doubt that he was calling himself out in a group and that's what you need when you're leading a group of men, and especially football players. You have to take accountability, and he knows that. Being a former athlete, this is why for better or worse, it's why you pick sometimes a former player to be your coach.
I wasn't going to go down this path, but for what you just said, have you seen the whole Paige Beckers thing with
Yeah,
her?
yeah.
And how they're like flipping out and how they're like saying, well, you're not allowed to ask about her personal life and stuff like that.
Oh.
So I saw they were talking on the radio today too. The WNBA and all those athletes. This is
new
a prime.
to them. They're not really new, or they're not really comfortable with the amount of exposure that they're getting, and I don't think they thought about this.
That's what they
part
wanted.
Of it. That's exactly what I'm getting at.
That's
though.
what you wanted.
There's, grass isn't always greener kind of situation.
That's what you wanted.
Yep.
So if you want the money and
comes
you
with the
want
exposure.
it comes with it. So if you want all this,
Bigger
being
paying
paid
contracts,
like
yeah.
athletes, you're going to have to sit there and answer questions that you're probably not going to want to answer the same way LeBron does, the same way all these other huge male athletes do.
Well, think about this. It's with bigger contracts comes bigger media deals, which means higher
100%.
Exposure, like people following you around. There's
Their job.
to a point where there's going to be like a Caitlin Clark documentary at some point, I would imagine. And it's just, yes, female athletes are on the come up. And there's
That's
a
what
lot
you
that
wanted.
comes with that.
And
That's
if that's
exactly
what you
wanted.
want,
Yeah.
if you want the attention, if you want the more money, it comes with it.
It does.
I thought you were
Not
going to
all of
quote a
it's glamorous.
Spider-Man quote with what is that quote?
With great power comes great responsibility.
With great power comes great media availability.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's what I'll say about that is you have that side of it to where they're like, oh well,
It's not all glamorous.
We're not going to answer questions about our personal life, and you're not allowed to ask this, and it's like
we kind of are.
we kind of are.
They can ask whatever they want.
This is what you asked for. Anyway, back on track. Let's get into Dylan's Bears draft.
I'm completely biased in this, of course, but before the draft even happened, I mean, the Bears were thrown a few curveballs when the offseason started. Our center that just made an All-Pro retired out of nowhere. He's like 25, 26, just paid him. He's like the second or third highest paid center, retires on you.
Had a really good season last year.
He did. And so they instantly have to spend a 5th-round pick to go and get y'all's center, Garrett Bradbury. It's already lost draft capital, and they have to spend a premier pick to pick their center of the future as well. So they were working with 6 picks, and I love what they did. I feel like they let the board kind of play out. They didn't, at least from what I see, they didn't really have the highest grades on the top defensive lineman class. They pretty much stayed away from it unless a guy was going to fall to them. They talked about wanting to trade up a little bit, but it was just going to cost too much. We didn't get compensatory picks for Atlanta hiring our GM for whatever reason. So we were strapped. I mean, seriously. And what they were able to pull off with this draft and the amount of picks they had, I love. I think everything made sense. And I think during the draft, while it was happening, there were a few picks that people were kind of like, what? But then after the fact, after the draft had already played out, we were, I guess, ahead of the curve a little bit. In that the Oregon safety was just a blessing. We didn't have to do anything for that. He was arguably the highest graded safety all around. Coverage, tackling.
He's going to be good.
He's like a perennial All-Pro.
And you guys lost. We lost
Byard. We lost Brisker.
Yeah.
Pretty much our entire secondary outside of Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson as well. It's new. Yeah. And we needed to revamp it. Seriously.
He's going to be good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got faster in this draft. We were slow, very slow on defense, and we were bad at, just covering. And so the Oregon safety pick, I love. I have zero complaints, and it was my dream pick. I was hoping that he would fall to us somehow, and I didn't think it was realistic with pick 25. But where it starts to get into the picks where people were confused about taking the Iowa center in round 2.
That one made sense because of what happened in the offseason.
It's just, it's not what Bears fans wanted. I saw all over Bears Twitter and just social media in general that people really think that, our biggest issue is the pass rush. But it doesn't really matter how good your pass rush is if you're secondary and you just can't cover for more than 2 seconds. It's not going to matter when you get to the quarterback if the ball's already out when you get there. And so, obviously, safety pick, good. The center pick makes a ton of sense, and it had to happen. This was the highest graded center. I think, he won the Remington Award last year, best center in college football. And people compared him to Linderbaum, as, one of the best prospects we've seen in a while. And Linderbaum just got $80 million to play for the Raiders. So this, I love. Developmental, you're picking for the future. It's not just fix now. And then in round 3, they took a blocking tight end. And I very confused when it first happened, but the more I look into it and the amount of tight ends that we saw come off the board, in rounds 1 and 2. I think it's the most it's been since,
Well,
I don't remember what year, but 9 tight ends went off the board.
Why the Patriots also picked tight end in the third round.
The emergence of 3 tight end sets, it started last year, in the year before with the Rams doing it. The Bears did it a lot. The Niners are doing it. All of these teams are starting to follow suit. And it's kind of a cyclical happening in the NFL where defenses get smaller and, they stop using as many linebackers, more nickel sets to keep up with all the gadget guys. So what does the offense do to counteract that? Let's go bigger. Let's start running the ball more. Let's start running play action where tight ends are all over the place and there's one guy taking the top off. And I think you're going to see a big change in how offenses are ran next year. And I'm excited for it. That's why I say when I mean the Bears were ahead of the curve. This was the best blocking tight end available in the draft, and they had to reach for him. He was maybe going to be available in rounds 4 and 5. But do you want to take the chance that a Rams team or a 49ers team, an opponent in your NFC, conference, gets him, and now they're getting, the benefits of having a great blocking tight end? This also unlocks Colston Loveland. Colston Loveland is not going to be asked to block anymore. He's Travis Kelce. He's going to be in every passing down type of guy and the third down threat. I think that 100% was the vision there. And then taking the receiver in the third round, Xavier Thomas, 4.2840. All of these picks made sense. And their last 3 picks, they went defense in spots where we needed it. They went and got a really good, really, high efficiency tackler in Keyshawn Elliott from Arizona State. Malik Muhammad was probably my favorite pick. I'm not going to lie. He's a man-to-man corner from Texas, and he's an old school corner. He's not really a zone guy, and it's exactly what we needed in our scheme. He was 2 years ago supposed to be a first-round pick.
Yeah.
And so, people know of his name, and he was not supposed to be there in round 4. So I think the value.
There were a couple corners that dropped, like the Tennessee corner dropped.
Jermod McCoy too. We'll talk about him later with some of our winners of the draft. But
there were a couple cornerbacks and defensive players that just kind of were supposed to be first round, second round guys, and they ended up going in the fifth, sixth round.
Yep.
So
I am biased. I'm going to give them a B+/A-. I really think that. Every pick made sense and it needed to happen. I think. I look at their list and I don't have any doubt in my mind what the thought process there was. And it's just they were kind of constrained with what they could do.
And I think we could say this for both my team and your team is we weren't drafting this year needing guys to just come in and completely just be game changers for us for our teams to turn into winning team.
Mm-hmm.
Now what it becomes is a bunch of role guys. Can you build a team?
Can you develop into a guy?
Yes.
While our other guys are already
exactly
there and showing you the ropes.
Exactly.
I think I've never been in this position before. This is the first time where I've been a part of a draft, one where we're not picking in the top 10, but where we actually have a roster. And there's a very few holes, like real holes, and they can be addressed. And I'm very excited for, obviously the training camp and stuff like that. Preseason can't come soon enough. This is always really when it starts to kick back in again. The itch starts to happen.
Yeah.
I can't believe that the NFL season is still like 5 months away, but I do think B+/A-, great. But moving on to some other biggest winners, I think there were a few teams.
We're not even going to talk about the Dolphins.
No,
we had didn't we have 35 picks or something? We had a lot of picks.
The Dolphins are on the winner list.
They're on our winner list. 100%.
Yeah, so
let's lead with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think the Proctor pick, looking at it, I think it's getting a lot more crap than it needs to now.
I agree.
Looking at it, I think Caleb Downs being on the board when they picked Proctor, I probably would have picked Caleb Downs over it, but they know they need to protect their quarterback. They know they need to.
Instead of best available, they went most important to them.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was a terrible pick.
Well, the Dolphins too. We've talked with AJ on the show about building inside out. And the Dolphins in years past, I feel like have tried to avoid that. And the Bears have done it too. All bad teams have tried it. Where it's like you want the flashy pieces in the garage. You want the nice car, but you're living in a trailer park.
It's kind of like what the Raiders did with Genty last year.
Yes, exactly. Or like what the Cardinals did.
Yeah.
So the Dolphins picking Caden Proctor instead of Caleb Downs should be a sign of growth there. and that they're actually looking to do this the right way. And then taking,
But the rest of
So
the
do you think that was the
too.
Green Bay GM influence? You think, and maybe just the
maybe-
change in the
maybe
house?
a little
maybe.
bit. I mean, it has
Green
to
Bay's
be.
been a great organization. They know how to build a team.
But I also
So
really
it's-
like Rodriguez, the linebacker.
Taking
you
a
guys
leader on
picked.
your defense in round 2, he's going to be there 10 years as long as he doesn't stay, doesn't get hurt.
Well, we're really
Right
good
away.
at building great defensive players and then trading them away. So
No,
We've done that a
I
few
definitely
times.
think the Dolphins now they still there's still a lot of question marks when it comes to how their quarterback's going to play and
Yeah.
all
Dawson,
that.
how about the quarterback they brought in? Did you hear the free
did.
agent
Yeah,
signing?
that-
they
that
signed
is-
a dude from the Jackrabbits.
That
There's
is
a-
pretty cool. Yeah, well,
the South Dakota
and then
Gronkowski.
his senior year, he played for Iowa, so he played basically 3 years at North Dakota,
winningest most college football
Yes.
quarterback.
And then his
He's a
senior year,
stud.
transferred to Iowa, played his last year at Iowa.
Yeah,
yeah, I did see
he
that.
could be interesting.
Yeah, you never
You never know.
No, I think the other team that it's funny. I always like talking about them because we hear about them all the time living here is the Falcons.
Yeah,
I do
it's such
think
a
the
good
Falcons
draft.
had a great draft.
Oh, yeah.
The Terrell brother, I think, rumor has it he's going to be playing nickel, is what I'm hearing.
First
which
time
would-
two brothers could potentially start
it is
on the same
ever
Yes,
Position, same
ever.
position.
at the same position ever.
Yeah,
so
it's
that's
wild.
pretty cool. At first, I kind of thought they did it like out of like sympathy and like wanting the story.
Oh, he's a good
And
player.
then I kind of did a little bit more digging. He's a great player. So I think he's going to be very good, especially with his brother.
Getting
Coming from
Zachariah
Clemson.
Branch in the third.
Zachariah
too.
Branch was
Insane.
I mean, the amount of people around here that talked about that's who they wanted was insane. So the fact that it happened, I know it made everyone very happy around here.
As it should.
But I do think that wasn't a sympathy pick. That wasn't a just, oh, he's from Georgia, let's just pick him. He's a great player. And I don't think Bobo from Georgia used him the way he should have last year in the Georgia offense. Mark my words, I think this guy could come out and be like, holy crap, he's got 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns in his rookie year, and he was drafted in what was it, the 4th round?
He's
The
going to
3rd round?
do wonders for Bijan, Drake London, and
Yes.
Kyle Pitts.
Yes.
And he's going to do wonders, and they're going to do wonders for him. I think
Yes.
the biggest question is quarterback for the Falcons. And it sucks because
what did I
that is
say to
the
you
worst.
when we literally were going over this stuff?
Yep.
We're
Yeah, it's
talking
true.
about the NFC South.
Even the linebacker they took, Kendall Daniels in Oklahoma, and they get Harold Perkins in the 6th round. I get that Harold Perkins has dealt with injuries, but I mean, we know the production's there. You know the athletic ability's there, and you know the football IQ's there. His freshman year at LSU was absurd. And yeah, he's just been hurt since then. If he can get back to that, the Falcons just got a every game starter and pretty much every down pass rusher in round 6. And so it's a low risk, high reward pick in the 6th. And the Falcons, again, they addressed what they needed to.
Two a time, baby.
Falcons were
Two a
better.
time.
And they
time.
didn't have to kind of, now that Pierce is going to be back, they didn't have to kind of address that.
That
'cause
too.
they'll probably be, there, after
That too.
six.
What a
7 games.
huge loss that would have been too.
Oh,
I wonder if they
huge.
would have gotten some kind of propensatory
Ooh.
pick or compensatory pick
I
if they would have lost their first round.
I don't know how that would work,
I don't know.
actually. That's an interesting, it's something they won't have to worry about anymore, thank God. But yeah, I think another one too, this one's kind of obvious. Obviously when you pick first, you're going to be, a winner if there's a player you take. And, if it ends up being a quarterback that lasts you a good bit, even better. But I think the Raiders and just not even, obviously Mendoza was a great pick, but they just had a good draft in general. I think in the 2nd round, obviously, the Oregon safety was my guy and I wanted him. But if he was, if we fell into a situation where he wasn't there and the other safety from Toledo, McNeil Warren, wasn't there, this guy's who I wanted. Traden Stukes from Arizona. And he ended up going like 20 picks before McNeil Warren. Tells you what other teams thought about him. Just a stud safety. And I think, again, everything they picked made sense. And I think they got a lot better. Yeah, they definitely kind of jumped the gun a little bit last year by taking Genty. But I think
It works out for him this year.
With the amount of money they've spent in free agency, freeing up the O-line, and then letting Jermod McCoy, who I say what you want, but I guess injury concerns to a point are a little bit laughable to me when this player, Jermod McCoy, was one of the best cornerbacks in college. And I know the knock on him is that he may end up needing another surgery and, just to completely clear everything up, and he may not play next year. That's 1 year. What happens when he ends up being a top 10 corner after that? and you're paying him on a 4th round salary now. That opens up so much for you to be able to do for the rest of the team. And so that, on top of taking the Arkansas running back too, Mike Washington, the Raiders are figuring it out. And I think it helps having Tom Brady in there.
Yeah.
And then hiring Clint Kubiak. Their offense is going to be good.
Yeah.
I think
that's what Jake was saying, especially
they made some good
with
picks.
You got Mendoza. All he has to do is not turn over the ball. You got Genty. You got Brock Bowers.
Yep.
I mean, you've got a really good recipe, and there's a reason why he took that job.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think Kirk Cousins will be a help to him?
I think so. I think a huge help.
I don't think Kirk Cousins would have taken the job if he didn't expect to do that because of kind of how it all unfolded in Atlanta for him.
Not only that, Mendoza reminds me so much of Kirk Cousins. Like, it's such a perfect just mentor. It's perfect. He's going to turn into Kirk Cousins 2.0, and he might even be
Hopefully
better.
he wins a little bit more in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. But I think, Raiders did a great job. And then I'd be, I'd be castrated to not bring up the Ravens because they sniped us more than a few times in this draft. They took a few guys that I wanted. But Baltimore Ravens had a good draft. I don't know if you saw much about them, but they got some guys that just felled them. I think that Missouri pass rusher, Zion Young, fell to them in the middle of the second. He was supposed to go in the first. So, I mean, and they already had guys that they had a great draft last year too. But, the question is always, what's Lamar going to do?
Yeah.
And I think now there's no excuse. They took the receivers that they took in rounds, I think it was 3 and 4. They took Jacoby Lane, who I wanted, the USC guy, 6'4", just a true receiver. He's natural hands. I mean, does not have to use his body to catch. And for a guy like Lamar, he's going to help you out a lot.
Well, and what you did in the offseason, especially with your coach, you basically were saying
that too.
It's not Lamar's fault. We believe in Lamar, and
there's no excuse now.
There's no excuse now.
No excuse. This is it. Yeah. And then the Indiana receiver they took right after as well, Sarrett, just a big possession guy. This is what I feel like Lamar has needed. I feel like they've tried to find receivers that, I guess, complement Lamar and his play style in that, they're fast, they're twitchy, they can get open when plays break down. But they tried to get a 50-50 guy with DeAndre Hopkins, who's like 34.
And they barely used him.
So I think now these two guys, and then you put Zay Flowers in the slot, and you still have Mark Andrews. I do think they should have found a way to find another tight end at some point, but it looks good. It looks good. Yeah. I'm a fan of what the Ravens did, and I think, a lot of teams got better unless you are these two.
But now wait, though, before we talk about the biggest losers, we got to talk about...
We got another one?
The guy, pick number 251, the Eagles, the Bernard guy from Nigeria.
I love him.
So have you seen video on this guy?
Oh, so let me tell you.
He reminds me of a full-grown NFL player playing on a high school football team and what it would look like.
No, he so a month to like 2 months before the draft, I've known about this guy. He's been kind of circulating around Twitter, and he was a guy that I wanted the Bears to take a flyer on while we still had a 7th round pick. We ended up trading out of the 7th, but just the measurables.
Have you seen this guy? Have you seen
what? Oh,
I know who he is, and this is my problem.
He's never played a down of football in his life.
Do you think it's going to matter though?
I don't know.
If I was
Jordan Mailata was the same way,
but it was pick number 251. It's almost irrelevant at that point.
Yeah,
it's
but
true.
Think about the opportunity that he took away from someone who has been playing football their whole life.
Yeah.
And whatever the case may be, and all of a sudden I'm looking at the screen and going, so you're telling me a guy who's never played football in America before got drafted before me.
Did you see how big he was?
Yeah, I understand.
He's
Look, I
6
get
foot
it.
But it's like that.
306% body fat on the defensive line.
I get it. Look, I totally get it.
But I don't know. But what about the NAIA receiver that got picked? And think about all the NCAA receivers going, wait a minute. How did that guy get picked before me?
He's played American football, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay.
And he did not get drafted. He got signed.
Oh, he is free agent. Okay.
I think if you're going to do it, 7th round is where you do it. Because like a guy like that, it's just one of those situations where you don't want other teams to find out. And it's like, have a shot at him in the undrafted free agency.
And it's not
part
that I
of
have a
things.
problem with it. I just think it's just
Most seventh rounders are never going to play anyway.
Yeah.
They put him in the practice squad. They let him. He's a work in
Develop him.
progress
They're
for a
gonna
couple of
develop
years,
him. I hear you.
and who knows? Maybe he becomes a beast.
I hear you.
Could be. He's got some of the best D linemen in the
don't know.
league to learn from.
Just a little weird.
So but the Eagles, knowing the Eagles, it's going to work out for him.
Yeah, I know, right?
He'll be playing
He'll-
snaps.
he'll
The
be
guys that, but listen, the way
he'll be the center for the.
Hey,
for the
you don't
ass
even
pass.
need to buy him pads though. He could go out there without pads and probably run over half these players.
Yeah, he can.
He is a beast.
He's a behemoth of a man. He really is.
To go on. To
Okay, the biggest losers.
So one of the biggest losers for me.
There's a trend here.
I think the Jets had a terrible draft for the amount of picks they had. I think their second overall pick, the defensive end out of Texas Tech,
David Bailey.
I don't think he's very
over
good.
over Arvell Reese.
Over a lot of other great guys, especially the one guy from Ohio State.
Arvell Reese.
Yeah. I think the Jets did what the Jets always do, and they kind of messed up all the picks that they had that they've been just collecting like Infinity Stones.
Remember what we just
last
talked
year?
about how bad teams they're allergic to building inside out, and they kind of go for the flashy pieces first. Exhibit A. Like this is, I want a pass rusher, I want a tight end, and then I want a receiver, and then a corner, and then I'm going to go get a defensive tackle, but then I'm going to go get a quarterback. And then, it doesn't make much sense. And on top of that, the O-line is, the Jets are going to be the Jets. They are. And I like the players they took, but it's not going to matter because they went to the Jets. Yeah. And it's just, Arch Manning.
It's either going to be Arch Manning on the Jets or Arch Manning on the Dolphins.
Yeah, but I think the Dolphins did a good job.
But
drafting,
listen, though, but I actually disagree. The Dolphins are going to figure out a way to win like 6 games.
That's what I think too.
And we do it every year. We're going to win 6 games, and we're going to have like the 9th pick, and we're not going to get it.
I don't know if the Dolphins are going to be bad enough.
No, we're not going to be 1-16.
You guys could get the kid from Ole Miss though.
Chambliss. I love Trinidad Chambliss, dude. And so he's that was another conversation is, what do you think he's feeling right now? Because of all that stuff that came out, he probably would have been the second quarterback taken.
100%.
First round.
100%.
I mean, maybe a national championship, it means that much to you.
But you know why
but
he doesn't care? No.
Oh, NIL.
No. It has nothing to do with the national championship.
So did you guys hear the numbers though for the NBA, for the NBA draft? They're looking at the number of young kids that are coming out of college like early. And the number is dropping every year. And like this year, it's super low for the kids coming out early. Mm-hmm. And the answer or the reason why? NIL money. Because they're making so much friggin' money staying in college. Yep. And they're going to get better.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, if you do it the right way. I mean, if you're like, look at Diego Pavia. He did it for the money. He did it for all that. And now look at him. He's the first Heisman, finalist to never go to go undrafted, and then no team really signed him, and then the Ravens invited him to mini camp.
The Ravens signed him to a 3-year deal after that. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. But Jets are going to jet.
But this is the microcosm that college sports is right now. There are going to be guys who go to the NFL, and even I saw something for college basketball. There are a couple players who are entering the draft, but if they don't get picked high enough, they're going back to college.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a thing.
But wait a minute. What if a team makes that pick?
You shouldn't. I have no idea. It is just so. It's just not what it used to be. It's not what it meant. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing now 2 examples the past 2 years with Shadur Sanders, and Diego Pavia of the NFL kind of going, no. This is not how it works here. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to play by our rules, you're going to get treated like this.
That's fair. Diego Pavia, one of the biggest losers for the draft.
Yeah, that would.
But so that's how that ties in. But Jets are going to jet. I don't think that they're going about it the right way. It's not like they had this outstanding free agency where they revamped the O-line and D-line.
They just had a ton of picks that they were relying on. And
I don't think
they spent those picks the right way.
They didn't. They definitely could have. I mean, you wasted stuff on sexy picks. And it's just I don't think the Oregon tight end is going to help you at all.
Do Do you think, though, this next team, does John Lynch, is he just trying to get to...
49ers use AI on their picks. And I don't think John Lynch is asking AI the right questions.
John Lynch is the prime example if he thinks he's smarter than everyone in the room.
Like, why are you getting so sneaky in that? Like, the draft is the draft. You know the caliber of some of these players. Why are you doing
49ers,
what you're doing?
So these last two teams, really, we can group them in together because they did the exact same thing. And I think we don't know that the Jaguars were, utilizing AI like that. I just think the Jaguars have a very it's radical GM. He's very young, and so he's got a new way to.
Well, we saw kind of what they did last year with the whole what's
Travis
Hunter thing.
And look where that's going. He's a full-time corner now. So good luck with that, guys. But yeah, I mean, careful because this is how teams lose their Super Bowl window. That's how it closes. We watched the Lions do it. I think the Lions had bad drafts after they finally had some success of guys that just, one, weren't filling huge needs and they didn't pan out. The 49ers reached on every single one of their picks damn near, and so did the Jaguars. And it's just the only pick that I like about the Jaguars was the Texas A&M tight end because they kind of started it. I think they were the first team to really take a guy.
Did you see his stats, though?
I did, but he's same reason that the Bears took the Stanford tight end. He's not going to be catching balls for them. That's Brenton Strange. But 13 tight end sets are on the come up. Yeah. But every other pick, it's just like they weren't guys that were anywhere near like tops of draft boards. And the 49ers taking that Stribling guy, Ole Miss receiver, when damn near all of the receivers are still available. Yeah. Not good drafts.
Classic example.
And maybe I'll be wrong in September, or after this year plays out.
Thinking you're smarter than everyone in the room.
It's just I don't think they weren't good drafts.
Well, they compared John Lynch to what John Elway did for a while to Denver, and it wasn't until Elway kind of got out of the way. And John Lynch, former player, great player, but maybe it's like they think they see something that other people don't see, and it's like, no, you should just probably go with best available instead of doing what they've been doing.
I would agree.
It's just so many don't make sense. It's just, and I'm just glad it's not my team doing this because we've been that team in years past. We've been that team. We've taken Kevin White 6 overall. Trust me, I know it.
I called up Mike, who, huge Mike
7th
Valencia,
overall.
huge 49er fan, goes to games out there. And I just said, Mike, what's up? And he's just like, I don't know. I just hope they think they know what they're doing.
Well, so Ryan Poles, our GM, I loved what he talked about before the draft and talking about how they are best player available, but they are not so best player available to the point where they're going to take a guy who's talented just strictly based off of that. He may not be a scheme fit. They'll try to make it work. That just doesn't work most of the time, unless that player is just otherworldly and he's a blue chip prospect, can do multiple things for you. It just doesn't work most of the time. So like what the Bears did, not taking defensive linemen for the first 5 rounds, and it's just guys weren't there that you were truly interested in and you thought could fit the scheme and be honestly a plug and play starter. And it's just that's what the best teams do. And I do think that we watch the Jets do it, we're watching the 49ers and the Jaguars do it, where it's just one, they're reaching on guys, they're trying to hit the next big thing before other people can, and it's shooting them in the foot. It really is.
To wrap up today's episode, I know we just talked about the negatives. We're gonna some of our favorite players who didn't get picked on our team, but I think going to be really fun to watch, really good fits.
Awesome.
My number one, I was a huge fan of Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
I think Caleb Downs went to the perfect team for him.
He did.
Not only to kind of be in the spotlight, kind of the same way he was at Ohio State, but I think he's going to be a great player. I've compared him. I thought the Ravens were going to take him with, or not the Ravens. I thought the Giants were going to take him at either 5 or 10.
Yep.
For the same reason of we saw what John Harbaugh did with Kyle Hamilton.
Yep.
I've compared him to Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah,
I know he's smaller. He's not as lengthy, but he plays the same way. He could play in the box. He could play traditional safety.
I would compare him more to a Derwin James.
Yeah. That's a good hype. But even Derwin James is very similar to how he played like Kyle Hamilton. And the reason why I thought that is because of the coach they got. Yeah. So I really excited to watch. And Kayla, he's also from Mill Creek. If you didn't know
I did not know that.
He literally played at Mill Creek.
That's funny.
About, however 40 minutes from here. I really like Caleb Downs. I think he's going to be great. I think I would not be surprised in a year or two. He is an all-pro safety. So
Well, and the
really
Cowboys
like
actually for the first time made some good moves.
they
did
did
really
straight
good moves.
defense. I know the whole George Pickens thing. Who knows what's going to happen with that?
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
But I really like Caleb Downs. I think he's going to be great. He's going to be fun to watch. Yeah, I'm excited for that. It just kind of sucks that he's on the Cowboys though, because I hate the Cowboys.
Yeah, I know. my personal favorite, the other Texas team, the Houston Texans getting a hold of Caden McDonald, the big boy 3 technique from Ohio State, and adding him to that already insane defense and defensive line. The Texans, just through one pick, have created arguably like the next great defense, like that we will remember for a long time. And we talked about it before the show started. If CJ Stroud can go back to what he looked like his rookie year, or even 75-80% of what he looked like his rookie year, look out for the Texans.
Tank Dell's coming back this year too.
Oh my God. Look out for the Texans. It's like impossible to run the ball against them now with Caden McDonald. And good luck passing the ball for anything that takes more than 3 seconds to develop. There are only like 2 or 3 offensive lines that can hold up against this. And it's so scary. And I do think those offensive lines are all in the NFC. So we haven't talked about divisions yet or what we think these teams are going to do next year, but Texans are, especially after that pick, quickly becoming one of my favorites for next year in the AFC. Yeah. And oh my God, I know AJ sees it too. So we talked about it a little bit. The Texans are terrifying. The
last one on my list, I really like the Falcons, the Harold Perkins linebacker.
Especially now that Pierce is there. I forgot about that when you brought that up.
His freshman and his sophomore year, he was on the freshman all SEC team, and then his sophomore year, he was on the first team SEC team.
This guy was supposed to be a first round pick before his
injury. He was
injury.
supposed to be a first round pick. He got hurt his kind of junior year. And he fell because of it. But I think with what the Falcons are cooking with Jalen Walker, with Pierce, with a Divine Diablo, and now the cornerbacks that they have, scary if these guys pan out. And people will say, well, it's a reach. He was hurt.
No,
you didn't really reach for this guy where you drafted him. He fell to you. And you took. So I really, and hey, we say it every year with the Falcons. It feels like, and they're kind of again one of those teams that. They just don't seem to ever make the right decision. Yeah. But I think they made the right decision in the offseason hiring Matt Ryan. I think they made the right decision hiring their GM that they hired. Stefanski, I think, is a great coach. You saw what he did with Cleveland. Cleveland, and Cleveland's been one of the worst run teams for
He got
years.
the most out of that team. Say what you want
100%.
about Stefanski and like his willingness to coach players that he didn't want drafted.
100%.
But he got the most out of them for the most part.
So I am looking forward to seeing what this Falcons defense will look like. And they had the second most sacks last year as a team when they had the least amount of sacks. So now you add this guy. Yep. It also frees up Jalen Walker to really because this guy's more of a coverage guy, not so much run stuffer, not so much run. So now it really frees up Jalen Walker to not have to worry so much about being a coverage guy, as he can go and attack the run, attack downhill, attack the quarterback the way that they probably wanted him to play last year. Yep. But he kind of couldn't. He had to play that hybrid role.
Yep. Falcons are cooking.
Falcons are doing. But again, the Falcons
quarterback.
We've seen this.
They figure out a way to falcon.
The Falcons always figure out how to falcon. So we will see. But those are my two guys that I think I really like Caleb Downs.
The last guy. So we can touch on this because I didn't realize that this was he fell this far, but. Jansen brought it up in our group chat talking about the Penn State running back Nick Singleton. And the Titans end up getting him like literally right after he was asking about him. And I really like that pick for the Titans. I didn't realize. So this guy broke Saquon's touchdown record at Penn State, which is kind of absurd because Saquon was there like 3 or 4 years. And yeah, for him to do that and just fall so far under the radar, just dumbfounding to me. This feels like a guy that, obviously the Titans had a lot of work to do. I feel like they did a good job of, getting some more O-linemen in there, some more protection for Cam Ward. And, I like the Carnell Tate pick if other guys on the offense can also contribute in the same way. Still missing kind of a big tight end that, really that's the quarterback's best friend. But I like the direction that the Titans are heading in. And I think Nick Singleton, I think Tony Pollard's probably on his way out. That's what this signals. And then Ty J. Spears is a good change of pace back. This is a guy that could sneakily be like, their lead back halfway through the year, and he ends up having close to 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
So, great pick. I think they took him in like the 6th round. Yeah. So it's when you get guys like that late in the draft, same with the Falcons. It's like if Harold Perkins has like 7 sacks, that's incredible. You're patting yourself on the back for the next 3 years. Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yep.
No, like I said, I think there's a lot of winners. There's a lot of losers. The same teams are going to do what they always do. I think our teams did a pretty good job this year. I even think the Dolphins did a good job. It just really depends on the quarterback play.
Yep.
When you figure out,
I like Malik Willis.
When you figure out you figure out your quarterback, I think the draft becomes really easy for a lot of these teams to kind of go down the list of what they need and what they want.
I've never known security like this. Seriously, this is the first time where quarterback hasn't even been a topic of conversation. Obviously, last year too, but that's it. Yeah. And outside of that, the draft for me and most people, I feel like is just such a nervous anticipation. I said this
to you last year.
It's just like, God, I hope we don't mess this up again.
We had this conversation last year to where the draft meant everything to you because it was, we need that player to, and to me, it just, it was just like, draft's on?
Oh, cool.
I'll turn it on.
Oh, that guy might be pretty good. Yeah. I know we took him pick 32, but
still
the first round.
Yeah. I completely agree. But no, let us know who your favorite players are that got drafted that you maybe wanted your team to get to draft and he didn't, but you're still gonna watch him and hope he's successful. Let us know your biggest winners. Let us know your biggest losers. I also think the Bengals. It was the Bengals.
They had a good draft.
The Bengals had a good draft, but it also felt like they just like weren't relevant. Like they were just kind of like
just under the radar, which is kind of odd for them. Yeah. But you know what? We'll give our Bengals fans some credits before we sign off. They had a good draft.
I did think
they had a good
draft. They had a really good draft.
Because I did, because I was great. I was looking at it before I wanted to make fun of Jack and all that.
They had a good draft.
I think they did have a good draft.
Good job, guys.
But no, let us know. There's a lot of, who knows, especially with these rookies and kind of how they go through college now. Who knows what they're going to do in the NFL?
Well, next step is training camp and division talks. That's next on the list for us.
There's still a lot of time left, unfortunately, but it will be here before
we will fill that gap accordingly. Don't you worry.
Before we sign off, though, Braves go Bravos.
Let's go Braves!
Best team
Can I
in
just
baseball.
say, where's my World Series trophy? My World Series trophy from 2005 is right there, and the White Sox have just signed. Thank you to the other 29 teams, including the Atlanta Braves, that thought Munetaka Murakami was not able to hit big league pitching because he is now the MVP frontrunner for the American League. He is now leading the league in home runs, and he is wearing a White Sox jersey.
I cannot wait till the Dodgers trade for him at the trade deadline.
No. Not happening. That's not happening. We're not in a rebuild. The rebuild is done. The prospects are here, and he's the centerpiece.
You know what that owner is seeing? He's seeing nothing but money signs.
You know what he's seeing? He's seeing a Japanese market ready to back the White Sox. That's more valuable than a few prospects.
As much as I want you to be right, my friend, I don't think you are.
We'll see.
We'll see. But no, yes, episode 80. This is our draft episode. Let us know, like I said, and we'll see you next time.
Sir, it's been real, guys.